All right, hey everybody. So there's three of us here this far. So let's just quickly go through the chats here. Hurry up, you fogies! Eat your applesauce. Put on a fresh nappy rug, boy. Um, in the Voltaren,
I guess that's what
yeah,
that's something like Ben Gay, probably, right?
I guess. All right, and Batgoat. This you want to read off this?
I said we're here. We'll start shortly.
All right. And now Batgoat needs his walker, and Mike
We do.
forgot
That's true.
where we are. Wait, where are we? Oh boy! And hey there, and then of course Woody said, "Hey guys."
Hey,
So
Woody. Morning,
so
Wood.
we now know that we have 4 people in here, but according to the counter, we only have 2. Anyways,
I'll be muted here for a second while I plug in my headphones and mic.
all right. All right, so just kind of wait just a few more minutes to see if we can get some more people in here. So always, guys, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. That helps get the algorithm up and also helps help see if we can get some more people in here. So hopefully everybody had a good day today. Well, as I said, we'll probably wait a few more minutes just to see if some more people show up here. All right. So, anyways,
how's my sound? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
That's right. You had to change over to your earphones there.
I did.
All right. So, while we're waiting for more people back, is there anything you want to bring up or say or anything like that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Real quick, Mike. The first thing is I'm sorry I have some bad news. Is that I just started working on the Lulz Trophy. The good news is I just started working on the Lulz Trophy. It's gonna happen. It is happening. So it's a big deal. I have 3 big wood parts that need to be decorated, festooned. You guys know me and my festooning with stickers and stuff. And then the glue gun comes afterwards. So it's going to take a little bit of time. I'll show you guys one. Who's here? It's just Woody and Toys, but I'll give you a little sneak preview of the smallest part of the trophy that's going to be affixed, festooned to the top of it. It's like a picture holder. I got little balsa wood thing. So it's all wood. I'm going to decorate this up somehow. And there's more stuff to it too. So other than that, you guys know the Potato Mike 3000. You love the Potato Mike 3000. I love the Potato Mike 3000, but I was getting really sick of its namesake falling off and having to re-glue gun it every time. So you saw the previous microphone I used, my little black and silver plastic one that actually works. It's a real microphone that goes to this play set piano thing. So what I did was today I took that and I did my magic festooning. You guys like it? This is our new. So instead of Potato Mike, we now have the bedazzled mic. This is right. It's been bedazzled. I'll show it closer. Surfing microbus. Here's our new mic, guys.
Oh wow, that is pretty decorative.
I was doing that when I first got on and started talking to you. That's what I was doing. I was putting my stickers on here.
Yeah.
So that's
the stickers on the handle part right there remind me a little bit of. I don't know if you remember this from back in the 80s.
Love American Style.
No, not Love American Style. That's not what it reminded me of. It reminded me of NBC's The More You Know segment. You know how they'd have the star go across the street?
Yes. Everyone knows The More You Know. That's a good one. So
yeah. So
okay.
All right. So let's see what people have been saying the last few seconds here while you were talking. Let's see.
Boy, it's
Action was saying hi to Woody. So sexy man's. Okay. Let's see. Cool.
I think I'm just going to straddle this thing.
The surfing microbus. Okay. That reminds me of Magic School Bus. PBS cartoon in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe.
Diet Pepsi.
Why Sweet Mike? Okay, so let's see. Okay.
I'm not going to be able to handle it with this thing here the whole time. I'll try.
Yeah, let's just hope we don't have another accident like we did that one time.
Speaking of which, I do have a temporary Lulz trophy. So the game is on tonight for everyone interested in playing. Toys, you left early last week, so 81. She took the trophy last week for the first time. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Action Toy says Lolem waiting for Batgoat to make the potato mic a function one. All right. So
but Dazzler mic is real. Dazzler mic has it's full mono sound if I wanted to plug it in, but it's horrible. So that's the joke.
And it looked like Toys said okay. I was cool with it. Okay. Let's see now. So we're coming up on 7 minutes here. What do you think, Becco? You think I should wait till 10, or do you think I should just go ahead and start? Because I do have a few more things to go through tonight than normal.
Go for it.
All right.
I think we've got Woody and Toyser. I think a few more people will pop in as normal, but this is our regular crowd. So
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Autopilot is here if needed.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, so guys, we are getting ready to get into 1938 here. But before we do anything with 1938, of course, we're going to take a quick peek back at 1937. So just a few quick little data, numbers, trivia for you. So at the end of 1937, of course, there were 7 publishers who were publishing 16 monthly titles. The 7 publishers were Eastern Color, DC. We'll be talking a little bit more about them today, as we will be focusing on DC January of 1938. Dell Publications, Ultem Publications. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I just did the John Cena thing. Let's see. David McKay Publications, United Feature Syndicate, and Quality Comics. Ultem at this point was the most prolific company, publishing 4 monthly titles. Followed tying for second place for 3 monthly titles published throughout the year were DC, Dell, and David McKay, and then the other 3. And hey 80, we see you. And then the other 3 all were Eastern Color, United Features, and Quality were all publishing 1 title apiece. Quality, as many of you may remember, started publishing, and their first book, Feature Funnies #1, went on sale in September of 1937 with a cover date of October of 37. DC and Ultem were the 2 companies that were, in fact, DC was pretty much exclusively all new material. And Ultem was also, so DC and Ultem were the 2 companies that were predominantly publishing newer, new content, newer material, whereas the other ones were still predominantly publishing reprints with a few new features in there. So that's about it for all of that. So we got through that part. So now let's see. Let me just real quickly here see what see some of the things that were just said here before we move on to the next part of what we're gonna. Sometimes I just need to shut off social media and relax, then serve Mrs. Toys a little. Okay,
A little action. All right.
laugh out loud. Yeah, I think we all get what that means, right, Batgoat?
Yes.
All right.
And sorry if I'm distracting, but my lighting is horrible. I don't know why I look so washed out on the screen right now, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Someday this channel will really take off. Well, I hope so, Woody. I see I was not the only one who got the lawnmower cut. like the look. Well, thank you, 80. Yeah, I mean, I was going to. I mean, I know this is probably the first time you've seen me. I know some of you probably seen me like this before, but basically, when it comes to my hair, it's a very simple approach. I let it grow out, and then when I just feel like it's getting too hot or whatever, I just shave it all off. So it's very simplistic approach. It works for me. Hey there, 80 from Action. 80 said hi all. Hi 80 from Woody. And then Action was saying, Mike did the you can't see me gesture laugh out loud. I think he should his hands above the table now. Yeah, I know, Toys. I know I inadvertently did that, but it was, obviously it's trying to fit my hand as I was counting off the number of titles there. Keep. Yeah. And then 80 says laugh out loud. Then Woody says that microphone makes you look like Lee Liberace.
Liberace. You know who Liberace is?
Yeah, as I recall, I think he's a musician, isn't he? Like a pianist?
He was a very famous piano player. Back in the 50s and the 60s, was very gay. Everyone knew that he was, and he tried to pretend that he wasn't, and that was the joke. So I just for Woody, for your sake, people say, Lee, how do you play with all those rings on your fingers? And I tell them, wonderfully. That's my imitation.
Oh yeah, that's like I think modern times. I think the way people like that act, it's like I think where you say I think he said wonderfully or something like that when he did that, or beautifully or something like that. Mm-hmm. Today I think the term would be fabulous. Okay, so
no, they would say fantabulous today because it would make them think of that stupid Harley Quinn movie.
Makes me want to do the flamingo. All right. So anyway, so we just got done with reviewing, just kind of closing out 37, just looking back and just kind of getting caught up there. So basically you had 7 publishers publishing 16 monthly titles. So now we're going to get into 1938. Before we actually read any comics, though, we got to do a little bit of a history lesson in regards to DC here, just to kind of get you guys caught up to speed of how DC kind of got started a little bit, and the fact that this individual, Mr. Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, will be leaving here in early 38. So here's the article. I'll be reading this off real quickly. You all might want to be paying attention. There's some interesting stuff. This is basically known for his wavy hair. Okay. All right. So, let me get started here. So, Newfound. So, the guy who originally created DC Comics was a guy by the name of Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson. He was in the Army earlier in his life, and then once he got out of the Army, he decided to become a writer and publisher. And so we're going to look at some of his publishing career here real quick here. So New Fun. Now New Fun was, of course, the title of the first book he published. You guys see it right there. New Fun, the big comic magazine, #1, February 1935. That was, of course, the cover date, so it would have went on sale in January. So here we go. In autumn 1934, having seen the emergence of Famous Funnies, another comic book we've looked at before, as basically the first regular comic book from Eastern Color, and other oversized magazines reprinting comic strips, Wheeler Nicholson formed the comics publishing company National Allied Publications. While contemporary comics, quote, consisted of reprints of old syndicate material. Now, that's what they called newspaper organizations back then, syndicates. They'd have, a bunch of papers they'd own across the country. And, of course, so they would be shopping their material across the country through their syndicate, unquote. So Wheeler Nicholson found that the, quote, rights to all the popular strips had been sewn up. So of course, as we've seen, those include like Joe Palooka, Lollapalooza, Dixie Dugan, all those. While some existing publications had included small amounts of original material, generally as filler, and while Dell Publishing had put a photo comic book of all original strips, The Funnies, in 1929. So even though we didn't see that one yet, because we started at 1933, but for what I had more recently seen when I looked up on GCD, apparently there was a comic, and that's the one they just talked about, right? The Funnies Volume 1 from Dell. Wheeler Nicholson's premiere comic, New Fun #1, that's kind of a nice ring to it too. How'd that go? New Fun #1?
Yeah. Well, I like what 80 said, to cut you off real quick. She said, "Do you see that at the bottom?" I'll just go ahead and read it. She said, "I wonder about old fun." But that rim shot, that's a joke. She made it funny.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I think though, in context, old fun might be the newspaper strips themselves. that might be old fun if you really want to have an answer to that.
Okay.
You really think about it, because they were transitioning from the newspaper strips to comic magazines.
Sure. Makes sense. How about it?
Let's see. New Fun #1, February 1935. That's a cover date. So meaning that that went on sale in January of that year, became the first comic book containing all original material, as author Nicky Wright wrote. Now, some of you might remember this because we did look back at this particular comic here. You see right down here, it says new original material right there. So, oh yeah,
and it's fun.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to. All right. So this is, I guess, a quote from author Nicky Wright here. It was at this point Wheeler Nicholson made history. He produced a comic appropriately titled New Fun, the Big Comic Magazine. So called because it was larger than the other comics, meaning 10 by 15 inches. Not only was the size different, so were the strips. They were all original, featuring all new characters specifically drawn for New Fun. Besides original strips, New Fun was the first comic to carry advertising. Now, quick quiz here for you, Batgoat.
Sure.
Now, I know one of the answers already spoiled if you were looking at the. That's why I'm going to bring this up. But can you remember? Can you remember? Let's say at least two of the original features in New Fun.
Oh, you put me on the spot here. Okay, I won't say anything that you had just mentioned.
Well, I didn't actually mention any of the stories in the magazine, but
Thought you'd said a couple. Okay. Was Alley Oop in it?
no, that's in Dell Publications of the Funnies.
The Funnies. New Fun.
I'm asking you for new fun. Can you remember at least two of the features? Now, if you were paying attention, you were looking. One of the original features you would have seen, but
You scrolled past it?
Yeah, I scrolled past it on purpose because I want to see if you remembered.
Okay, I'm just gonna start throwing things at the wall. The clock. No, I know he's not in that. Dixie Dugan.
Nope.
Remember,
this is all original stuff. So.
Okay. Oh boy.
All right. Obviously, you're having a little trouble. Well, I'll at least give you one of the answers here. Can you see that right there? Jack
Woods. Okay.
That was one of them. Sagebrush.
He's cowboy guy.
Yeah, he was the Wild West guy.
Okay, I remember him.
Sagebrush and Cactus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's see. Cal and Alec, I think, is what they eventually became. Sirloin of Beef.
Yes. I bet you they had one of the air ones too. Did they have one of the?
I believe also. Let's see. I believe Sandra of the Secret Service was also, and she's still there in More Fun now.
Okay.
More Fun, Sandra of the Secret Service, Barry O'Neill, Wing Brady. So, I just wanted to see if you remembered some of those. Some of them are still around where we're at now. So
I didn't. You got me. I was trying.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't as much to get you. I just want to see if you remembered. Just it wasn't like I was trying to put you in a gotcha moment. Or
anything. But I play trivia, dude. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay, so continuing on here, then. A tabloid-sized 10-inch by 15-inch, 36-page magazine with a cardstock, non-glossy cover. New Fun #1 was an anthology of, quote, humor and adventure strips, many of which Wheeler Nicholson, in brackets, wrote himself, unquote. And that is true. And we've talked about, I call them mixed anthologies because they had both. Later, we would talk more about the themed anthologies. But anyway, I should really get through this a little faster here. The features included Funny Animal comic, Pelian and Osa, and the college set, Jigger and Ginger, mixed with such dramatic fare as Western strip Jack Woods, and the Yellow Peril adventure, Barry O'Neill, featuring a Fu Manchu-style villain, Fang Gao. Let's see. I'm sure, Batgoat, you know what the term Yellow Peril means.
Well, people being afraid of anyone Asian, maybe say Japanese or Chinese type of thing. Like
I think it was more specifically Chinese. I think more or less because they're the ones who are considered yellow skinned, as I understand it. But anyways, continuing on here with the Fu Manchu style villain Fang Gao. While all original material was a risky venture, the book sold well enough that National Allied Publishing continued to fill books, quote, with new strips every month, unquote. Golden Age comics creator Sheldon Meyer. And just in case you guys don't know who that is, don't remember who that is, Sheldon Meyer is the guy who does the Squibbly feature. The Squibbly feature about the kid cartoonist.
Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of remind you guys of that Sheldon Meyer. That's the guy who does Squibbly. So continuing on here, quipped years later of Wheeler Nicholson, quote, not only the first man to publish comic books, also the first to stiff an artist for his check.
Oh.
Now this is something that I've been talking behind the scenes with Batgoat a little bit about, and we'll read a little bit more into this. But apparently, he might have been a good publisher, but much like Paul E. with ECW, wasn't as good with money. But so as we continue on here, the first 4 issues were edited by Future Funnies Incorporated founder Lloyd Jackett. The 5th by Wheeler Nicholson himself. So I think they're talking about the first 4 issues of New Fun were edited, and then the 5th issue 5 was by Wheeler Nicholson himself. Issue number 6, October of 1935. Now that was the one. Okay, well, actually, I think they're about to say that here. Issue number 6, October of 1935, meaning it most likely went on sale in September of 35, brought the comic book debuts of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the future creators of Superman, which began their careers with the musketeer swashbuckler Henri Duval doing the first 2 installments before turning it over to others. And under the pseudonyms Leaguer and Ruths, the supernatural crime fighter adventurer Dr. Occult. And I'm sure you remember him, right, Batgoat?
Mm-hmm. Dr. Occult.
Yeah.
He's the first. What do you call him? The first mystery man? Yeah.
Mystery man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's considered the first mystery man, or one of the first mystery men. Mm-hmm. They would remain on the latter title through issue number 32, June of 1938. On sale date May of 38. Following the magazine's retitling as More Fun, issues 7 and 8, January, February of 36, and More Fun Comics number 9. Now, of course, a lot of this is just a quick review for you guys. You guys have, for those of you who've been around a while, we've been reading through some of these books, so it's just a quick review, more or less. But Wheeler Nicholson added a second magazine, New Comics, which premiered with a December 1935 cover date, meaning November, went on sale in November, and at close to what would become the standard size of Golden Age comic books with slightly larger dimensions than today's. The title became New Adventure Comics, issue number 12, and finally Adventure Comics with number 32. Continuing for many decades until issue number 503 in 1983, it would become one of the longest running comic books. In 2009, it briefly revived with its original numbering, ultimately ending again in 2011 with issue number 529 prior to DC Comics' New 52 reboot. Despite Wheeler Nicholson's optimism, finding a place in the market was difficult. Newsstands were reluctant to stock a magazine of untested new material from an unknown publisher, particularly as other companies' comics titles were perceived as being, quote, successful because they featured characters everyone knew and loved, unquote. Which, if you think about it, would also make a little bit of sense, considering this was also in the midst of the Great Depression, too, when, it would be a little bit more risky to take on something like that, because if it fails, it just furthers you into the depression.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, let's see. Returns were high, and cash flow difficulties made the interval between issues unpredictable, as we saw, right? You guys remember seeing, sometimes there'd be months where, where maybe a company didn't, like, let's say you'd have New Fun and new Adventure one month, but then the next month only New Fun or something like that. You kind of get what I'm saying? But yeah, turns were high and cash flow difficulties made the interval between issues unpredictable. Artist Craig Fleisel. So that's a guy who with where we're at, is currently writing Speed Saunders. He's also writes and draws Pep Morgan as well, who we'll be reading in a little bit here. Recalled that at the company's office on 4th Avenue, quote, the major flashed in and out of the place, doing battles with the printers, the banks, and other enemies of the struggling comics, unquote. All right. Now we're gonna get into the later career here. Before I do though, I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna go grab myself a drink here real quick. So I'll be right back.
Okay, that snuck up on me. I don't have anything prepared right here. Oh, you know what? I did notice your comment there, Ada. You said, what'd you say about him being a good-looking man in uniform there? And I had noticed that picture too. It looked to me as it. So what are we in 1938? So that was older. That was like post-war. It'd be considered would be interwar. So after World War I, before World War II, that kind of strap over there, and it probably would have had the big hat, like round type, overseas type hat. So yeah, I agree. That's a old fashioned, good looking uniform there. And what else? Okay, my autopilot guide, dude, it just fell down. What else? I really have nothing prepared for you guys other than Mike's still not here. Take a look. What I did last week. Here's my. This is going to be for stamps and some of the bedazzling stickers. For what's my favorite word? Festooning. And speaking of which, toys. My mustache keeps getting stuck on this stupid microphone. It's bothering me. Toys. I looked on my email. I didn't. Did you send me an email with your address? If so, I didn't see it. So maybe you could send another one like this weekend, because I want to send the Swatch trophy out to you. All right, Mike, I'm done talking to them.
All right. I was just looking at some of the comics here too. So yeah, I just wanted to go grab something to drink real quick here. So
Not a problem. I winged it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did surprise you on that. Just my mouth was kind of felt kind of muggy, so needed to grab something and loosen some of that stuff up in there. So
my Xbox is still dead, Woody. I got to figure out something about that.
Okay, so later career here then. Wheeler Nicholson suffered from continual financial crises, both in his personal and professional lives. Quote, Dick Woods, unquote, artist Lyman Anderson, whose Manhattan apartment Wheeler Nicholson used as a rent-free pied à terre, I believe a French term. Said, quote, his wife would call, in brackets, from home on Long Island, unquote, or unbracketed, and be in tears and say she didn't have money and the milkman was going to cut off the milk for the kids. I'd send out $10 just because she needed it, unquote. So I told you, Batgoat, this guy was having some money problems.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back then, of course, they had milk delivery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Batgoat, Do you recognize what's to the right of the screen there?
The Detective Comics,
Right.
the bad guy there.
Yeah. Do you remember who that is?
Yeah, no, I mean I know I've seen him, but I can't remember which. He's the bad guy from.
If you can at least name the feature.
It's not Speed. He wasn't the bad guy against Speed. He the bad. No, he wasn't the bad guy against that Navy guy. Crap, I forgot.
Are you sure? Yes, he was.
Wait. No, it's the bad guy against Slam Bradley. He's from Slam Bradley.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah,
That's exactly that.
It took me a second. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's the fun sometimes of these little guessing games here. It's like, because I want to give you a chance to think and see if you can figure it out. And now I'll say his name. But if you all remember, the bad guy, of course, Slam's first rogue that he dealt with, at least publishing wise, was as we kind of come to, well, as we would read it, it was Fui on Yui.
Fui on Yui.
FUION YUI.
Huh.
From what we were able to figure out, and even if you remember, even Shorty go Fui on Yui. Okay, so anyways, on with the article. Yeah, we should really get through this so we get caught up with it. Anyways, the third and final title published under the aegis of would-be Detective Comics, advertised with a cover illustration dated December of 36, but eventually premiering 3 months late, which would be like cover date March, February on sale date, with a March 1937 cover date. Now this is where the story is going to get interesting here.
Are they referring? Do they keep? I keep seeing the Major. Are they referring to Wheeler as the Major because of his Army career?
I told you earlier that he had an Army career prior to his publishing career.
I knew he had the Army career, and I saw the picture, but he must have been active duty for quite a while, and he was a major in there, so that was a big deal. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, Detective Comics would become a sensation with the introduction. Let's see, did I skip? Oh no. Okay. Detective Comics would become a sensation with the introduction of Batman in issue number 27, cover date May of 1939. By then, however, Wheeler Nicholson was gone. In 1937, in debt to printing plant owner and magazine distributor Harry Donnerfeld, who was as well a pulp magazine publisher and a principal in the magazine distributorship Independent News, Wheeler Nicholson was compelled to take Donnerfeld on as a partner in order to publish Detective Comics #1. Detective Comics Incorporated was formed with Wheeler Nicholson and Jack S. Leibowitz, Donnerfeld's accountant, listed as owners, which I kind of mentioned this to you before we got started there back here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as we continue on here, let's see. The Major remained for a year, but cash flow problems continued. DC's 50th anniversary publication, 50 Who Made DC Great, cites the Great Depression as, quote, forcing Wheeler Nicholson to sell his publishing business to Harry Donnerfeld and Jack Leibowitz in 1937, unquote. However, wrote comics historian Gerald Jones, and this is something I kind of mentioned to you. We're almost finished with this. In early 1938, Harry Donnerfeld sent him and his wife on a cruise to Cuba to, in smaller quotes, work up new ideas, unquote, smaller quotes. When they came home, excuse me, by the way, the major found the lock to his office door changed. In his absence, Harry had sued him for non-payment and pushed Detective Comics Incorporated into bankruptcy court. There, a judge named Abe Menon, one of Harry's old Tammany buddies, had been appointed interim president of the firm and arranged a quick sale of his assets to independent news. Harry gave the major a percentage of More Fun Comics as a shut-up token and wished him well. So now, Batgoat, you might know this. I did a little research. So Tammany, what they're talking about there is Tammany Hall, which, if I understand correctly, was like a kind of a major political organization back in the late 1800s, early 1900s or something.
Yes. Well, Boss Tweed. It's very famous, Tammany Hall. So I was wondering why they were bringing that up.
Yeah, I think these guys were all a part of Tammany Hall.
Wow. Then they're all criminals. Literally. That was like the worst government corruption ever. Tammany Hall.
Well, one of Harry's old Tammany buddies, so maybe they still were around after,
That's what I'm guessing. It's just saying a good old boy club left over from Boss Tweed and all those corrupt politicians. That's what they were.
And if that's the case, look what they did right here. They acted according to their history.
Exactly. Good point.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'm just gonna step away from my computer real quickly because it's getting dim in here. So I'm gonna turn on my room light. So I'll be right back.
No, that was what people wanted at that time. I don't understand what as far as people wanted.
What are you responding to?
Just what 80 had just said their last comment.
Let's see. No, that was what people wanted at the time. Well, what do you mean by let's see. Let me go back through some of this. Let's see. Kind of like waiting for a bootleg shipment to arrive in that era. How's your gaming console?
Xbox still dead.
Yeah. Your mustache does look like wings. I guess you was talking Batgoat, you want to say this?
New style I'm trying. Laugh out
loud. He looks like an Asian vampire. I guess that was in regards to Fooey on Yui.
Fooey on Yui, yes.
Let's see. Poor but happy. No, that was what people wanted at that time. I mean, the majority allowed it.
As far as him getting his company stolen, maybe she's saying.
Yeah, because 80, you need to be a little more specific as to what you're talking about there, because I don't think we're picking up on what you're trying to say there.
And I like at the very, you were going to read that sentence anyways, that last.
Should I just continue on and then we'll.
Yeah.
All right. So this last sentence says, Wheeler Nicholson, quote, gave up on the world of commerce thereafter and went back to writing war stories and critiques of the American military. In addition to straight article, quote unquote, articles on politics and military history. So that's basic. So that's, I just wanted to read through that a little bit. So basically, at this point, the original guy who founded DC Comics was basically getting thrown out, as Detective Comics Incorporated, and all three titles that we talked about, Detective Comics, New Adventure, and More Fun, were all coming under the Detective Comics, and they would, starting I think in February of '38, would all three be under the Detective Comics Incorporated banner. I was referring to Tammany Hall conversation. Okay. So I guess when she said this stuff was,
she's talking about what I was. She's tagging on to what I was saying on the Tammany Hall, or what we were talking about the Tammany Hall.
Yeah. Wanted at that time.
No one wanted that. That's, if you go back and look that up, just do a quick wiki search. Tammany Hall and Boss Tweed is the worst political corruption. It's worse than what's going on right now with.
I mean, the majority of people allowed it. Well,
they didn't know what was going on. They had no idea. It was corruption that had never been seen before.
Back in those times, they didn't have social media. They didn't have the World Wide Web, so nobody really knew what was probably going on.
And Pulitzer was lying. Pulitzer was lying to everyone anyways. I mean, that's a fact too. Yellow journalism. Samuel Pulitzer, the Pulitzer Prize, such a great guy. He just flat out lied to people in his newspaper. And there was nothing anyone could do.
I think William Randolph Hearst was also accused of that too.
Yellow journalism. He wasn't as bad as Pulitzer though. Pulitzer just made horrendous stuff up. It was terrible.
All right. Well, now with all that being said, wow, we're in 47 minutes in, so I'll try to get through as much of the comic side of it. Now we got through some of the history a little bit here. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at at least now I know a quicker way to actually get to the comics. I figured out a quicker way than having to scroll through all those pages. If you guys remember that stuff from before. So we'll get started here. Now, even though we are doing DC this week, we're going to be doing the funny side of it, since I know we'll be doing DC basically 2 weeks in a row here, for January 38, because aside from this, not much else was going on in comics in January 38. And next week we'll be back in DC covering the same set of comics. So rather than doing the same exact features both weeks, we're gonna take a little diversion here into maybe the funnier side of DC. So I hope you guys are ready for this. With more of a focus on, of course, the works of Russell Alger Cole. Alrighty then. So here we go. So here's Detective Comics issue 12, cover date February 1938. On sale date would have been January. So here comes a champion. And it says right there, of course, Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, editor and publisher. Vincent A. Sullivan, associate editor. And Vin Sullivan also did wrote some stories. And there's a speed on. Well, I'll let you guys see some of the artwork as you go down. We got to do a little quicker here because. Okay, so let me see. So let me steal. There was a story here from Russell Alger Cole called "At the Adams Case." I was going to read, so that's why I'm.
I would think yes, 80. She just asked a question there, Mike.
All right. Well, let me take a look at that real quick, and then the last comment.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Are comics allowed to? All right. Are comics allowed to sell today with word "murder" on cover? I think it would. Obviously, well, that would be a good question because with the SJ,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
with the SJWs, but I think it would depend upon the context too. I mean,
I agree.
because like if it's a detective story and you're talking about a murder mystery,
And
that
it's a
would
murder mystery, or they call it murder by numbers or something like that. I think that would fly, right?
Yeah. Now, if let's say somebody was using a comic title to make a threat to murder, then that might be a little, but that'd be harder to prove though. If that's what they intended to.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it would be, but I think it would depend upon the context of the story too. I mean,
Yeah, and if the publisher themselves is willing to say this should be okay, we won't get in trouble with that. I mean, like there's the movie Murder Ball about, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
And it has nothing to do with people murdering each other.
As a kid, I loved reading True Detective. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, True Detective is cool.
All right. So, trying to get down to the story I was going to read in this. Counterfeit by Vincent Sullivan, the assistant editor. Counterfeit. More of a text story here. Here we go. This is the story right here. The Adams Case by Alger. Now that was that was one of the pen names he would use. Russell, his full name was Russell Alger Cole. I think Alger was one of the pen names he would use. The lifeless body of old John Adams was found in his study on the night of December 10th. Mrs. Watson, the housekeeper, said she discovered the body at 8 o'clock. What is it, Mrs. Watson? She had notified the police at 5 minutes past 8. Old Sims, Adam's gardener, and the only other person living in the Adams house, said he'd been in the village at the time playing diamonds with
Cronies, like friends. It's dominoes.
That might have been what it was, but I wasn't sure because I wasn't sure that's an N or a W right there.
Yeah. Dominoes.
Yeah. Oh, dominoes with cronies. Okay. Yeah. And Sims, cronies, all said the same. Let's see. Sims played dominoes with us for from 6 to 8:30. Then we heard. Then we heard about Adams. A delivery boy said he saw Mr. Adams alive and well at 6 o'clock. Mrs. Watson said she was at a neighbor's, Mrs. Mrs. Toomey's, visiting visiting from 7 to 8. After getting Mr. Adams' supper and then reaching home, she made the discovery. Beyond the fact that Adams had been murdered, the local police were stumped. We're linked. You're telling me they sent for one clue, McCarty. Tank the case. Oh, and right, if you. Oh, all right, if you insist. Oh, okay. Mix things up a little bit there, but that's okay. Now, lawyer, tell me about Adams' will. Mr. Adams had a great deal of money. His will leaves it all to a nephew of whom we've had no trace for years. I can't even read that first word right there. Huh?
I can't make it out either.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh. Let's see. Absolutely nothing has been disturbed in the Adams study. That's very important. I've seen and heard just about enough already. You see the two other police officers all have question marks. Like, huh?
Really? Do you?
Yeah. Sims wasn't Adams a man of very fixed habits? And didn't he always have his supper at exactly 6:15? Right. Supper, then his cigar. A regular and punctual man he was, sir. Fact is, I've not known his equal in that respect. Uncle Joe Sparks said Mrs. Watson phoned him at his store at 6:45 about groceries, and during the conversation stopped and talked to Mr. Adams about an item on our grocery list.
Hey, Leto.
Oh, Leto's here. Hey, Leto. Hey, Leto. Leto's here. Hey, Mike, Batgoat, Woody, Toys, and 80. Hey, Leto. As always, guys, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. That does help with the algorithm and hopefully get more people in here. So, and we have a bit of a conversation going now between ATC and. So, anyways, you guys are chatting. I will get back to the the comic here.
Drive safe, Letta.
So she phoned me at 6:49, and so people were asking, quote, who killed Mr. Adams between 7 and 8 o'clock on that night of December 10th? Question. Sims, old bean. Mr. Adams snored or smoked fine cigars, didn't he? And one of his sayings was, "Never let a good cigar go out." Right, you are, sir. I've heard him say it many's the time. No love was lost between John Adams and his nephew Henry Adams. Henry was a rotter, yet Henry was John's only blood relation, and pride of family drove John to will the ne'er-do-well his all. John John had lost blah, 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 blah. John had lost trace of Henry, but Hank hadn't lost trace of John. I assure you. Okay. So John had lost trace of Henry, but Hank hadn't lost trace of John. I assure you. The fact is, Adams was dead before 7 o'clock. Mrs. Watson phoning grocer Sparks stopped and asked Adams a question, but Adams didn't answer. For a very good reason, and it was clever to get Sparks, thus to offer voluntarily and innocently an alibi, covering the hour of 6:45. Yeah. One said, I said that all along. Yeah, I said that all along. Let's see. Things moved to a rapid conclusion. One clue: McCarty caused Henry Adams' arrest in Mexico, from where he'd kept up an undercover correspondence with Mrs. Watson. Adams were given you till the first of the year to pay. Henry Adams, desperately involved financially, moved to get his uncle's estate. Question mark. People wanted to know had been one clue McCarty's one clue this time. John Adams supped at 6:15 as usual, and at 6:35 lit his cigar. Adams always smoked his cigar steadily to the finish. The cigar I found had only a 1/4 inch of ash on it. Mrs. Watson did him in just before phoning Sparks. Question mark or exclamation mark? Huh? Adams was going to appear and claim the estate. Mrs. Watson was to have 25 grand for her trouble. And look at the exclamation mark. The other officer there too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that story. So hopefully I did all right in the reading there. I know it felt
Yeah. Oh, you got it.
So how are we doing on time? Oh, I'm already past the hour mark. I want to get through as many stories as I can. I'd better hurry along here. Well, I know I'm already past the hour mark and doing a lot of that history stuff in regards to DC.
No, I'm sorry. I'm laughing at 80. 80.
Oh.
She thinks that one detective looked like Wimpy. She'd said that
yeah,
before.
I mean, you could, yeah, that could be, yeah. I mean,
I agree. It does.
Yeah. But then again, this is Alger, who's known more for his humor writing, so this might have been more of a humor writing, you know. I mean, even the artwork there looked.
I noticed that even for a murder mystery, I'm like, these are cartoony. Even for in a comic book, they're cartoony, kind of not the hard jaw, Speed Saunders type of
Speed Saunders or Slam Bradley or But this is obviously meant to be more of a cartoony detective type story, which is part of the reason, of course, why I picked it.
And they didn't even show the murder or anything. He was just laying on the ground, and then they come in and try to figure it out. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. They did a lot via supposition right there.
Yes, which is fine. Some of the comics go too heavily into the bang bang.
Yeah. Well, and as I said, since we were going to be reading the same exact comics 2 weeks in a row, that's why I decided to switch things up this week and focus more on the humor stuff as opposed to going into the into the usual stuff we do. Because we'll get back to the usual stuff next week. So here we go. And give me a sec as I got to take care of something real quick, but I'll be right back as soon as I find the... Right.
That's a good one, Toys. So Mike left, but Toys, check it out. He's in position. We're ready to go. We're ready to go if I need my autopilot. And here he comes.
All right. Okay, so now we're moving on to New Adventure issue 23. Look at that. Guy trying to beat off a creature there with a gun, but shooting at it. And this artwork's by Craig Fleisel, who we talked about a little bit there. He's the writer and artist for Speed Saunders right now. At this point where we're at, also did Pep Morgan, who we'll hopefully get to at some point. And for this one, of course, Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, listed as editor and publisher, and then associate editors Vincent A. Sullivan and F. Whitney Ellsworth. I know I've mentioned this to you guys before. Whitney Ellsworth right there. He's a guy who also served as, I believe, consulting producer on the 50s Adventure Superman series with the late George. Well, I think all the characters by this point all late, but the late George Reeves. So another couple of thing with these cities. Jim and the Texas Rangers. Sometimes there's Dale Daring. Eli. Movies by L.V. McGovern. Just for fun. Here's another Alger story for you there, Batgoat.
Yeah, and you can see his animation style is the same.
Yeah.
Not as sharp, rounder, kind of funnier type characters.
Just for fun by Alger. Kind of cartoony, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Yeah. May I drop over tonight? Sorry, I'll be out. May I call this eve? Now Batgoat, you wanna kind of go into may I call this eve? What he's asking there?
He's asking if he can call on her this evening, as in
right.
like, can I call you up and we can go out and do something? Can I come on over?
Again, just and the only reason I wanted you to bring that up is, of course, again, going back to how we talk about word usage, grammar usage, way you kind of put say things, how it was said back then as compared to today. I just a lot of times, can I come over tonight, or that's usually how we'd say it today. But just some of these other ways of saying that,
Well, I remember all the your older stores, they would have, before everyone has their digital LED signs. In the old days, you used to have a sign on your door that you would flip over. Yes, we're open, or you flip it over, and it would say closed. Sometimes it would say, please call again.
Yeah.
Like come again.
Well,
even though you
still see some of those signs today. I mean, some stores still have those. You see them around still a little bit. Not as many, but
yeah, like south of where I live in townships where they don't even have cities, but yeah, they'd like call again, and you'd think like, I'm not calling them on a phone. I'm actually walking up to the store. So,
right. I have a date. Now, gee, I was hoping we could have a fireside chat. Of course, this is during Roosevelt's term, one of his 4 terms, his second term as president. We hear a lot about the fireside chats back then. If the way to a man's heart is by George, by George, I've got an idea. Clara, how's about having dinner with me? Why don't you call me oftener? Oftener, or we'd say today more often.
More often, correct.
But you notice how she said it, oftener?
Mm-hmm.
I do that too. I'll modify words like that into words that aren't necessarily in the dictionary, but still, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something you can do.
Good strategy too. It's just, hey, can I come over, hang out? No, get lost, loser. Hey, you want to come have dinner? Sure, feed me. He got it right.
Eventually.
Yeah, especially back in those days.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of that old. There was an old cartoon I remember. I think it might have been a famous Studios cartoon, where they were basically talking about the psychological idea of the id and the ego. The guy, you'd kind of be going around with this guy, and in his head you'd have two people trying to drive him. You'd have the little gentleman guy, and you'd have the caveman guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the one scene, he goes up and he's gonna be more proper about it. He's gonna just take the lady's hand and kiss her, but instead he gives her some kiss, and then the lady, and then like you see the woman's head, and you see the little librarian girl and the cave girl, and the librarian girl just give a big slap in the face, and knocks his head because the cave guy had taken over driving ahead from the gentleman guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about, or if you remember that particular cartoon, but
but I mean the bigger, the more popularized version of that is with the angel and the devil, one on each shoulder.
Right.
I mean, we still see that current.
Yeah, the angel and the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Devil or angel, you surely will be mine. Because federal men. Now, again, I didn't even realize that this story was in here, but this is a federal men. I'm not going to read it because, as I said, we're going to focus more on the humor side. But I just wanted to make a quick little note. There's another JMFC story, Junior Federal Men, in which you got a kind of a classic trope here. You got some girls wanting to act like junior federal officers.
Yeah, this is the little Orphan Annie ring decoder club.
Yeah. So in this particular story featured, what you might call the junior federal women's club, as it were. Was the federal men. So it was an interesting story. Basically, the girls had supposedly caught a woman trying to shoplift, but then she turned it around on one of the girls, and then they ended up busting her in the end. And then the boys had to kind of acknowledge that the girls could be, crime fighters as well. And of course, here's the, come on, girls, you're just as welcome to join the JFMC as the boys.
I love it. I love it.
Get all your girlfriends to join this worthy movement to battle crime.
Take that, SJWs, in 1938. Look at that. See that? Come on, girls. You join the club, too. Everyone's welcome.
Right. Badges, certificates, ranks. Get yours now. C Club paid for. Yeah.
They are fugly orphans, though. Yes, they are ugly. Agreed.
Who's saying they were ugly orphans?
He said they're fugly.
Ugly?
Yeah, well, they are.
I mean,
gotta agree.
Bonnie and the Mounted. No, I just wanted to mention that story because I had read that story before, and that was a pretty fun story. But as I said, we're just going with a different route.
Yeah.
So that's why I just kind of talked about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's see. We got Nader, the Master of Magic here. I'm gonna find it. No, there's got to be at least one other Alger story here. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Oh, Oz Bop by Alger. I knew there was at least one other one here.
Oh, Oz. This is the guy I like.
Yeah.
This is the funny guy.
Yeah. Get pork chops and hurry back with them. Yes, of course. Hi, Oz. I've just got time to roll one game. Come on. All right, just one. I told you I'd beat you. Hee hee. All right. I told you I'd beat you. Hee hee. Well, play one more. We'll play one more. Hello, Oz. Doc Davis is over at the store saying he can beat you at checkers any day in the week. I'll beat Doc $1 to Pumpkin. He can't. Okay, to Pumpkin he can't.
I'll bet Doc $1 to a pumpkin. He can't. Which
Okay,
is
yeah,
like saying dollars to donuts is just a weird way of talking again.
yeah. Right. Oh, Raw, I'm beat, but you can't do it again. I'll just show you.
That's a good point, Woody.
What he saying?
Pumpkins were cheaper back then, I guess.
Yeah.
They're much more expensive these days. Yeah, true.
Two in a row, Doc. You never could play checkers. Bah. Oz, did you see this in the paper? Pork has jumped again. Wow! Them chops. Here's a dime, Willie. Take them chops to my house, and um I'll tell 'em you was um kept away by business like you said. Ham and eggs and some potatoes. And then here's, of course, the Junior Federal Men Club page right here, conducted by Steve Carson.
So is that it?
Yeah, I guess that was it.
I don't get the joke. I think I kind of do, but it's really dumb.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if I read it as well either. It's just
It's something about pork. He wanted those pork chops, and something about the price going up. And he said he was away on bed, so he sent the pork chops home, but he ate steak and eggs at the diner.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys figure it out?
Maybe it was well. It could have been, again, this is the Depression, so pork chops may have been. I don't know what the difference between like pork chops, ham and eggs, what the prices were, but maybe it's one of those things where he wanted something that was a little more expensive but didn't have enough, so I had to settle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's Gufo the Great. Here's Alger's next story. Gufo the Great. What would everybody like to hear?
Play the Piano Man. Come on, dude. Piano Man.
Annie Laurie. Annie Laurie. Fine. And you? Where the river Shannon flows. You? the blue Danube. Blue Danube.
Blue Danube.
Yeah.
Strauss.
In the shade of the old apple tree. Great. Is there a piano player in the house? He's asking like he's making everybody believe that he could actually play.
Taking your question.
That's a bit of a very interesting irony. And then
they threw stuff at him. Hey, there's my pew-pews.
Yeah, there's your pew-pew. And in color, too. By 1938, everything's in color now.
They are in color. I dig it. Which almost doesn't look as good. 80. You are silly.
Oh, yeah? What's she being silly about?
Read her last comment.
All right, let me get the scroll back up here first. I'll do that.
She's got a theory on the pork versus
Okay.
the steak and eggs.
Batgoat, how am I doing on time there? What's the?
You're at 125 right now, so you get another.
Okay, so I think I've got enough time to at least get through maybe one or two of the stories and more fun.
Yeah.
So I'm asking everybody, and I know Batgoat, you can chime in here on too. So everybody, how am I doing on the readings tonight? Are you guys enjoying how I'm reading them, enjoying the voices and all that?
I say you're doing great as always. We'll see what all the characters here in chat say. So 80 just said that she loves hearing your voices and reading characters. So she's saying you're doing a good job.
All right, so let's read last few comments here. All right, so I guess this is the one you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pork chops make the comments. I never would have believed it. Okay. He had the munchies and found roadside weed before it was eradicated. Okay. Not sure what that means, but
I think it's very funny.
Yeah. Yes, I love hearing your voices on reading characters. Thank you there. Good, Mike. All right. It's always good to hear, positive feedback when you get it. So, okay. So now we are going to go to more fun.
These star stickers are coming off, so you know what, you guys? I'll get out more of the diamonds, the little gem part. I'm thinking,
You finish there, Batgoat?
We'll get rid of the stars, and I'll do this as far down as I can before it hits that. So more festooning. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Number 29, February 1938, More Fun Comics. That. Oh, look at that. So they made a snowman of the teacher there.
Looks like her.
Yeah. And she, like the kid got a sinister smile right there, and she's like,
she ain't happy.
Yeah.
They made fun of her.
Yeah. Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson and Vincent Sullivan as the associate editor. Sandra of the Secret Service, who's been there since the beginning. Oaks Detective and the Special Killer.
Dr. Occult.
Dr. Occult, right? I'll go the Cowhand. Okay, we won't read that one, and we know why.
Oof, yeah.
Cam the Porter. That was an Alger strip back then. Barry O'Neill. And of course, some of these that have been with More Fun from the beginning are still being written serially as well. Serial like a series or serial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, continue.
The newer comment the newer comics are written more episodically. It's the ones that have been around a while that are still being written in a serial style.
Well, there's a good question from 80.
Oh yeah,
That she just wrote. She said, "I wonder how many of the comics were based from real life experiences." And I immediately think of, in most of these, there's always something about maybe an airplane, or like we said, we see the China Clipper, or people's war experiences, or flights, or things like that. So they do short little slices of real stuff mixed in. Would be my answer to that, but.
Yeah, and I think even in some of the stories, particularly in some of the more controversial stories we've talked about too, you can also kind of get an idea or a hint of the attitude they'd have towards, let's say, certain individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so we've talked about that a little bit too. So, anyways, so here's Pep Morgan by Craig Fleisel, who also does the Steve Saunders story. Now, a little note on Pep Morgan here. This is his last appearance in New Adventure Comics. His next appearance after this will be in Action Comics #1. He'll be one of the featured in Action Comics #1, along with Superman, which we will be getting to here in the next couple months here. So
coming up, yeah.
All right, so let's see what I can do here about this. Actually, let me double check one more thing here because I want to make sure it's on high quality, not low quality. Because as you can tell, again, the scan for this particular comic is not as great as the others. I should have checked this right when I came in to make sure it was still. Like when I was previewing this earlier to read, for the read throughs. I switched over to high quality. I don't know if it's still on high quality or not. So, and as far as I know, I guess, and nobody's saying it, so I'm guessing that the video has been good tonight too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it hasn't been choppy, so not that I've seen.
Yeah, I think I've only seen once or twice where the icon even came up, so it didn't stay up for that long. So, probably means that everything's probably hopefully back to I'm on high quality. Okay. Just wanted to double check that. Let's see.
I did buy glitter glue. I could use that too.
Oh yeah, and I saw this earlier. I guess he at least put the information up out there earlier. Nick is going to be on tonight with Ty. Ty is coming back for a visit.
Mr. Beard.
Yep. So just letting you guys know. I know most of you will probably be heading over there after we're done here. So just want to give you a heads up on that.
Is the audio gone?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Toys, are you saying there's no audio on your end? Can we get a confirmation on that, or you said LOL? I don't know. I don't think I think he might have been referring to something else.
Well, I'm hoping he's referring to something else. Audio F. It has been awesome. It has been awesome viewing experience.
Audio is all good, says.
Yeah. I don't know what Toys is trying to get at here. Audio is all good out here. Laugh out loud.
He hit his own mute button and didn't realize it. Haha, Toys. I'm just kidding.
I have no idea about the party everyone going to. I'm just going to hang here until you guys kick me out.
Always welcome at this party.
Yep. All right. So All right, yeah. I'm gonna increase the font here a little bit.
Toys is mething. No, Toys was not mething with us. He was messing with us. Meth?
All right, there we go. Oh, I know that's Bob Merritt. All right, so here we go. Let me see if this helps a little bit because it's still All right, I'll make up a light lunch and we'll go on a picnic. Pep? Okay, 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 sugar. Be ready at 2. Pep and Percy are going on a picnic. Okay.
Going on a go.
Yeah. Pep and Durcy or can't even are going on a picnic and all alone. Now my nystagmus is acting because I'm trying to read that. Well, toodles, toodle doo, Peppy dear. Um, I sure gave the other girls the slip. That's well. Who and I know just a spot for our picnic. Shh, easy on the on the on the easy on the hood, kids. Oh, this is just too divine a spot, Pep. Yes. Yes, and now we eat. Kind of like earlier with the idea of, the best way to a man's heart through his stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that story? We got another one right here, right?
Works for the girls too.
Yeah. It's so quiet here, but a soul, or not a soul, for miles. Oh, looky! Aha! Oh boy. You see that right there?
Yeah, so much for not a soul for miles.
Well, no. Look at the right there. Look like you got a woman on all fours. Oh, okay. You have a woman on all for a sec there. Maybe the way that the scan just it looked like for a second the guy was on the girl who was on all fours.
I think they're all girls, Mike.
Oh,
they're all women there.
Oh,
and they're spying on him.
Oh, probably her roommate, Pep's girlfriend.
That's why I'm saying so much for not a soul around for miles.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost looks like the one girl is like on the other girl, like the other girl is on all fours. It's almost like she's riding a horse or something. Pep and Percy, I'm guessing that's her name. I can't. Again, it's hard to read here. Are about. And that's just too hard to read. Oh, look at those beautiful pond lilies. Say, do you like them? I'll get one for you. Peggy. That's her name, Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult to read some of these scans sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I do the best I can, but I'll get it. Oh, just a little more, and oh, there's a squirrel gathering nuts. Gathering nuts, huh? Splash! Oh, fell in there. Oh, Pep, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Do it again.
Okay.
No, you didn't. You didn't see it. You pushed me in. Oh, something must have pushed me. I don't know if it was her. I was watching the squirrel gathering nuts. Gathering nuts, huh? This is a gathering of. This is a gathering of nuts. Okay.
So I would think it was one of them, one of her roommates that pushed him in.
Maybe, yeah. And I was trying my best to read it, but a lot of the scan here on some of these stories is a little.
Joyce pointed out that you're not a you've got a dirty mind.
Oh, probably because I was thinking the one girl looked like she was riding her like a horse.
I didn't see it. You did.
Well, I saw that. I saw that one girl was on all fours. Okay. Now, of course, what ended up happening was you had one girl was on all fours, and there was another one standing next to her. But from what I was seeing, it looked more like the one girl who was standing next to her was actually on top of her back there. So, I wasn't thinking anything dirty. I was just thinking it was weird seeing, almost looking like somebody riding her like a horse. But
Okay.
anyway, so here's the next Alger story. Woozy Watts. You see the two guys there. Is he here? Yeah. Go up. Wow. Hi. Hi, Rat. And Rat to you. Okay. Go in. He's waiting for you. Hail that for theft or yurt lawyers and okay, Chief. Gentlemen, I know this country pretty good down here. Maybe I could find Murtis. It's not here. Yeah, this is all just too. I'm sorry, guys. This stuff's just a little too.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but I think I still got through a good number of the stories here.
Absolutely.
I think we are running a little low on time, right? We're getting pretty
1:45. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's enough of that for now. I hope everybody enjoyed the readings, and I know we also spent a bit of time, on the history side of it as well.
That was good though on the for Wheeler, for Nicholson Wheeler. I mean,
yeah,
it's good to know about him.
Yeah,
I think
he was one of the original creators of DC Comics, after all.
He's OG. Yes, sir.
All right, so we are at an hour and 45. So, shall I? Let's see. Do you want to? How do you want to do this, Batgoat? Should I go ahead and do this day in each history first, or since we're kind of more toward the end, or did you want to do the how do you want to do it?
Well, yeah, it's real quick because I don't have much. I'll just take 10 seconds to do this. So you guys weren't super active, but I was keeping score, and it was a close one. 80, you were at 4. Toys, you had 5. 5 good lulls. So I said I've got the temporary lulls trophy, which it's this one left over from. Remember that was on the part 2 trophy, so I peeled that off. So there you go, Toys.
Yeah. So, well, 80 was sitting here saying, I like, well, I guess she was trying to say, I like Mike. You do you, Mike. Okay.
She's saying, don't listen to these yahoos, including me.
Let's see. Mike thought there was a doggy style. Well, I mean, there definitely was a girl on all fours there. So
I like what he said after that.
Oh, yeah? What did he say after that? Well, is this what he said? The squirrel?
Yeah, because above that, he said there were all kinds of possibilities, including the squirrel. So I think that's funny.
Oh, Batgoat, you might want to read this one.
Batgoat, I don't want to be part of any competition. I just like being here when I am. Okay. All right.
It's all in fun with 80. It's no big deal. I mean, it's all in fun. All right. Well, anything more there, Batgoat?
No, I'm good. So, Toys, if email me this weekend if
Okay.
you haven't already.
And I guess I'll start to wrap up here. And Batgoat, if you'll agree to stay a few minutes after, so we can do post game, as it were.
Sounds good.
All right. So let me just remind myself of a few things here, and then we'll get to this day in each history. So, is everybody ready for this day in each history?
History.
All right. So, anyways, today being Friday, July the 23rd, 2021, we're going to take a look back at this day in each history. And among those, including a couple of, sadder notes. We do have a couple people we have to mention who passed on this date in certain years. We will do that in a moment here. So our first stop here, of course, is going to be on this date in 1996, 25 years ago today. Jim Pabian passed away at the age of 97. Jim Pabian was an American animator, screenwriter, and director. In the 1930s, he worked as an animator for Bioworks, Leon Schlesinger Productions, and Harman and Ising. He would later work for MGM Cartoon Department in the 1940s, and then would branch out as a comics artist with Dell Comics in the 40s, 50s. So on this date in 1996, 25 years ago today, Jim Pabian, American animator, screenwriter, director, and comic book artist, would pass away at the age of 87. So, peace to him. Moving on to the next thing before. I know I just frequent. I feel it is a competition. I just like hanging with you guys. I meant nothing. No, I mean I just want to make sure you understand. Yeah, nothing's wrong.
Nothing wrong at all. And if you don't want to, that's totally cool. Like if you, because it is a competition, but it's just for me. And as you see, like I make things when we do this.
Fun. It's a competition.
It's just for fun. It's totally for fun. It means nothing. And
yeah. So we are Nietzsche. We be Nietzsche.
We be Nietzsche.
All right. So let's see now.
Mustache be sticking.
Yeah. All right. So the next piece of Nietzsche history then.
And toys. I just got your email, so we're good. I will send that out next week.
All right. So on this date in 2003, which would be 18 years ago today, that's our next piece of niche history. The 200th issue of Archie's Digest magazine went on sale on this date from Archie Comics for $2.39, and it was 96 pages. So on this date, 18 years ago today, the 200th issue of Archie Digest magazine went on sale on this date in 2003. So there we go with that one. And the next piece of niche history. Okay, so on this date in 2006, from the Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, WWE would host a SmackDown brand exclusive event, the Great American Bash. Since making the purchase of WCW and its properties in 2001, this was the third annual Great American Bash event that was held by the WWE since making that purchase. The main event saw a match between Rey Mysterio and King Booker for the World Heavyweight Champion, which Booker won by pinfall after Chavo Guerrero interfered. One of the predominant matches on the card was Undertaker versus Big Show in the first ever Punjabi prison match, which, from what I'm guessing, that I think that was originally going to probably be like the Undertaker and the Big Khali, but I if I remember correctly, around that time, I don't believe they believed Khali was ready yet to actually wrestle in the ring. I don't know if any of you have seen a Great Khali. He's like about like 7'1", and another interesting little note that I found out a few years ago too. Back in the early days of his training, which were years before this, he came up in an independent organization out here in California called All Pro Wrestling, which is based up in Hayward. And I don't know if some of you had heard about this or not, but there was a case where during a training exercise, he ended up accidentally killing one of his training partners, one of the other students. Just didn't properly apply a hold right and ended up, killing him. Wasn't intentional, but ended up being big news. And they probably felt he wasn't ready at this point, and that's why the Big Show was probably put in there instead of the Undertaker, which Undertaker won by escaping the structure. And the Punjabi prison match, from what I understand, is very similar to a cage match. Just, it was originally themed for the Great Khali. Another primary match on the undercard was Batista versus Kennedy. Kennedy won after Batista was disqualified. So that happened in 2006, which was 15 years ago on this day. Let's see. Apparently, there were a few things that were said here. So, see. And this is why protests did not like pirates did not like the women on the ships.
I think she's just playing with us, Mike. She's just. I think she's throwing some jabs at us.
I remember a monster truck called the Undertaker.
Yeah, that's a rad truck, the purple and green one.
Yeah, actually, green. What's kind of funny now, this is a bit more back in the 90s too, when WCW was still around, they would actually branch off into other sports. It's like WCW would sponsor I think they actually did sponsor Mark Martin's NASCAR car for a while there. And they also, were coming out with monster trucks too. Like there was the Hulkster, there was Medusa, they had some monster trucks too. So let's see now. Batgoat.
Just right there where I'm talking. Yeah, I'm just talking at toys off the side.
Yeah. That poster I would have used to target teaching my kids to shoot a 22 gauge. All right. All right. You get those nudes beach. Oh boy. Okay. So, anyways,
he sent me some pictures of toys that he was working on. They're really cool.
All right. So, anyway, and then the last piece is the other thing I mentioned, the other passing that I mentioned, which happened, of course, 10 years ago in the year 2011, which we'll get to. So 10 years ago today, Toyo Ashida, who was an anime character designer, animation director, and director. He was notable for directing the original Vampire Hunter D anime, as well as providing character designs for VFAM, Machine Hero Wataru, Minky Mono, and F-Zero GP Legend. He's the founder of anime production Studio Live, as well as Japanese anime. Basically, Toyo Ashida passed away at the age of 67 on this date in 2011. So, they said here he was heavily inspired by Tex Avery, Bob Clampett, the Fleischer Brothers, Harvey Kurtzman, and Jack Davis. So
that's cool, throwing in all the big names like that.
Yeah. I didn't even see that before, just now there. So anyway, so that's all that we have for this day in Each History.
You always got to shout out Tex Avery. He's the man.
Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream tonight. I hope everybody really enjoyed learning a little bit more of the history about DC Comics, as well as getting into some of the stories and stuff like that. Hope you guys had fun.
I did. It was a good stream. You did good on your voices.
Yeah. So, and I hope to see you all back here on Monday. So until then, bye.